Hey, Hoda, you see everybody out there?
I
Our
do.
friends watching today all day. We are thrilled that you're here. It's Thursday, or as Hoda likes to call it, Friday Eve. Are you always saying that?
I have never called it that.
You're constantly calling it. No, you're constantly saying Friday Eve.
It is the second best day of the week. You're tuning into our digital show. It's Today in 30, a half hour of everything you need to catch you up from our show earlier this morning.
All right, let's get it started with Dr. Rochelle Walensky. She's the director of the CDC, and we talked to her about everything from COVID surge to booster shots and the return to school.
And speaking of back to school, by the way, cities are struggling to find enough school bus drivers. We're going to take a look at the problems being created for millions of families and what some districts are doing to try to find more drivers.
And then we cannot wait to introduce you to the U.S. Paralympian, who is one of the world's most decorated athletes. You've probably seen her inspiring commercial during the Olympics and the Super Bowl. You're probably still crying from that,
Yeah.
right, Hoda? Well, wait till you hear more about her inspiring story and her mom, too.
Oh, I cannot wait to see that story. Jenna's got that. And also, I have a fun adventure with Hugh Jackman. We're high above New York City, so that'll be fun.
A lot of Snuggletown going on between you and Hugh Jackman, and I'm jealous. Let's get it started.
All
Time for Today in 30. Let's bring in the director of the CDC, Dr. Rochelle Walensky. Dr. Walensky, good morning to you.
Good morning, Savannah.
The big question this morning, if the 2 vaccine dosage is still working to prevent severe disease, hospitalization, and death, why is this 3rd booster shot necessary?
Right. So we have seen now evidence that we've been looking at just over the last week or so that has demonstrated that the vaccine is starting to wane in its effectiveness against infection. It's still holding up relatively well against severe disease and hospitalization, but we've also seen that we actually need more protection against the Delta virus, and we're starting to see in other countries that they're starting to see waning infection against more severe outcomes. So we're anticipating that that may come, and we're planning for it so we can be ahead of this virus.
Yeah, what I think you just said is there was concern that over time that the protection would wane against severe illness and death even, that essentially in some ways the 2 doses wouldn't be good enough anymore.
That's exactly right. So we're starting to see waning in infection. We think that that may result soon in waning in severe disease and outcome. We certainly don't want to see that here, and so that's why we're planning now to get ahead of it before that happens.
One of the biggest problems with the Delta variant, as you well know, is that even for vaccinated people, we now know you can get a breakthrough infection and you could be spreading it even if you don't feel sick and you have no symptoms, which is one reason we've had this explosive growth in COVID cases this summer. So here's my question. Is there hope, or better yet, data, that getting this 3rd booster shot could actually prevent transmission?
So there's actually hope. We don't have data yet. We do know that the higher levels of protection, certainly in the Alpha variant, resulted in less transmission, and we have not yet seen the data, but we are hopeful that the booster will not only protect you, give you a higher level of protection, not just against the Delta variant, but against a broad range of variants, but it might also decrease the level of virus that you have and make it less transmissible if you happen to be a breakthrough.
If the protection after the first 2 shots fades, then presumably the 3rd shot's protection fades too. It's the exact same shot. So do you anticipate this being regular boosters?
You know, I don't think we know that right now. What I will say is there's numerous vaccines where we have 2 primes of a series and then a later booster, and we don't need a boost after that. The hepatitis B vaccine would be one example. So I think we still obviously need to continue to follow the science. We need to see what happens with further variants and whether we have further variants here. But right now we're taking this one step at a time. We know we need a boost now, and we will continue to follow the science, but I don't think it's a given that we will be doing this, continuously.
I know you know that there has been criticism both abroad and also by some doctors here in the U.S. who say that getting a 3rd booster shot is unnecessary and something of a luxury item when you look around the world, and many people have not even had their first shots. I was struck by a quote from a WHO official who said it's akin to handing out extra life jackets to people who already have life jackets while we're leaving other people to drown without a single life jacket. Your response?
I don't think that this is a choice in terms of we have to choose one or the other. We're going to do both, and we have been doing both. So just over the last 2 months, we've delivered 50 million vaccines here in the United States and over 100 million vaccines across the world to 60 countries. Before the end of this year, we anticipate that we will be giving about 100 million boosters here in the United States and over 200 million vaccines around the world. This is not a choice. We plan to do both.
As you know, half of the U.S. is not vaccinated at all. Are you worried that this complicates your efforts to send a message to them that the vaccines work? Because now you're telling people, well, actually, you need a third. Does that undermine the messaging?
First, I want to say it is critically important, while we are talking about boosters to the nearly 170 million Americans who are fully vaccinated, we are still actively speaking with the 100 million Americans who are not yet vaccinated and asking them to get the information that they need to get fully vaccinated. They remain at risk of severe disease, illness, and death. When you are vaccinated with your first 2 doses of vaccine, you remain protected from severe disease and death for up to 6, 8, perhaps longer months. And so what this booster is going to do is to optimize that protection, to extend that protection longer.
All right. Dr. Walensky, good to have you with us on this important morning. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. We're back with a look at Rockefeller Plaza. The 19th of August, 2021, final weeks of summer quickly going by. But it's not over.
Okay, good.
Summer is not over.
Good. I like that.
Actually, guys, we've been talking a lot, as you know, about the issues facing families as this new school year begins. And COVID concerns, of course, are the backdrop of all that, the difficulty finding the right supplies. And now you can add something else to that list, which is a shortage of bus drivers.
Yeah, and it's really happening in communities all across this country right now.
Yeah, exactly. We've got NBC's Carrie Sanders in Orlando with more on that. Hey, Carrie, good morning.
Well, good morning. You know, it used to be easy to find folks, drivers who wanted to sit in this seat, but not so much anymore. Nationwide, some school districts are offering $5,000 signing bonuses to get drivers. But right now, with fewer drivers, that means there are fewer buses running. And with fewer buses running, that means more kids are packed inside. And all of that coming at a time when social distancing is more important than ever. With the start of the school year underway in many areas, the wheels on the bus are going round and round again. But in many school districts, those familiar yellow buses are carrying more kids, traveling further and taking longer rides than ever.
We would have to combine bus runs. So you can imagine that a child might be on a bus run that was supposed to be 30 minutes, might now be 50 minutes.
The national shortage of qualified drivers forcing some schools to scramble, in some cases hitting the relief valve, asking parents to carpool.
Asking parents to be the solution to this problem really isn't the solution.
Some school districts are now offering lucrative bonuses to lure in drivers, but even that's not doing the trick.
We're looking to fill 100 driver positions right now.
And at your last job fair, how many people showed up?
We had 16 show up at our last job. 16.
In some cases, school bus drivers who tend to be older say they're shying away from the job because they're worried being close to kids will expose them to COVID, especially if students are not required to wear masks.
They end up being hospitalized because they done caught the COVID from one of the students.
Even at $19 an hour with set hours and no weekends, district administrators say drivers remain scarce.
They set up an interview, no one comes back. No one, I always say they ghost us pretty much.
Bus companies are now actively recruiting new drivers.
You have the opportunity to earn a $1,500 sign-on bonus if you want to become a bus driver.
But the process to become a certified driver can take months, leaving kids heading back to school with COVID protocols with yet another bump in the road.
And welcome back. In his latest movie, a thriller called Reminiscence?
You got it.
All right. Hugh Jackman is going dark.
Yeah, his character is nothing like the actor himself, who, as we all know, is a ray of light. But Hoda, perhaps you know that a little better than the rest of us now that you've had some time in person.
Did get to spend some time with him. You know what, Savannah, there are some people you meet and they just lift your spirits, and Hugh Jackman is that guy. He is a true gentleman. He's a jack of all trades. He's beloved fans by, you know, everything from his Marvel comics to musicals. He is madly in love with his life, Deborah Lee, and I was lucky enough to hang out with Hugh at one of the tallest spots in New York City. For more reasons than one, it was a total high. Oh, hello. How are you?
Good.
What's the best place to catch up with one of Hollywood's and Broadway's top actors? How about over 1,000 feet up, hanging above one of the world's highest observation decks, the Edge at Hudson Yards? You came up 101 flights.
Yeah.
How are you with heights?
I love it because I hated it as a kid. I had such a fear of heights, so I actually went to the diving board at our school and I just jumped off it until at lunchtime for like a week until I got over it.
Is that like your philosophy on life? When there's something in the way, you just have to like look it in the eye?
Totally. So I just always, if I'm scared of something, if I have to bungee jump, which I now would love, I'll be straight off. Don't think about it, just go.
Go, go, go seems to be Hugh's M.O. He's one of the busiest men in and out of Hollywood, a triple threat with an embarrassing collection of golden statues. He's a devoted husband and father of two. He's even got his own nonprofit coffee company. But above all, a few moments with this Aussie native, and one thing is obvious. We have a woman who works with me who said, when you sit and visit with Hugh, you will never think that he's Hollywood. You'll think he's your friend. They were right. So that's such a great trait for
Yeah, well, if you want to ask my guys who are here, I'll give you the opposite point of view. I mean, X-Men was my first real movie in America. I was 30. Now at 30, you know who you are, right? So if someone hands you a, for example, sexiest man alive, I only try to mention it once in every interview, Hoda, but I'm like, well, I do remember a good solid 10 years of literally not being noticed and getting turned down at every corner. So it's weird that I'm all of a sudden that guy, you know. So I think it helps having had some rejection and some real life experience.
The past year and a half has been a departure for a guy who's always on the go. When the pandemic shut him down, he had to get creative. Luckily, while Hugh was honing his sourdough skills,
all you have to do is follow my voice.
Editors were finishing up his latest project, Reminiscence. It's a sci-fi dystopian mystery action thriller. And oh, there's romance too.
Close your eyes.
Tell me about Reminiscence.
There was something so original about this story. It grabbed me in that at the beginning of the story, I feel like I'm playing a Bogart type of character in like a classic sort of film, and then all of a sudden it goes off.
Reminiscence has a haunting love story that borders on obsession. His character's girlfriend suddenly disappears, launching him on a twisted quest to find her. The search leads him into an underworld of crime and drugs. But thankfully, the film's plot is nothing like Hugh's real-life romance with wife of, wait for it, 25 years, fellow actor Deborah Lee Furness.
Deb is the lightest, most optimistic person I've ever met in my life. Like, if you ever want to play the game, who's the happiest person in the room, Deb wins. Just know Deb wins. People often say, oh my God, marriage is so much work, and there are some things you've got to live by, but it hasn't felt like that.
I can
It's
tell.
been one of the best things.
By the way, eyes are a giveaway in life, man. Eyes are a giveaway. Yeah. And whenever you say it or just saying her name, like, it's just, it's cool to see true love 25 years later.
Isn't that awesome?
Oh, wait.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, my gosh.
Isn't that incredible?
Where's Broadway from here? Just point to Broadway from
That
here.
way.
Also on the horizon for Hugh, the much-anticipated, long-delayed Broadway revival of The Music Man. The show is finally set to open in December, and oh, has Hugh been practicing.
Tap dance your way to losing 50 pounds in a day.
But I'm so excited to be part of it, to be there as Broadway opens up again, and also to bring back a musical, which is the first musical I ever did, by the way, The Music Man.
Is that
At
right?
high school. I was salesman number 2. Gutted I didn't get the lead part. So, no, I'm kidding. No, there's nothing like Broadway. Particularly for a musical, that's the pinnacle.
Okay, so we're going to try to do something. Hanging out at the top is old hat for Hugh, even out here on the edge, taking in a view that gives mere mortals the willies. Fear is the last thing on his mind.
We do push-ups. Push-ups.
Oh!
Look at that.
That is scary.
That is.
That's super scary.
And welcome back. This morning in Food for Thought, a trip to the Jersey Shore to a place called Compassion Cafe. In case you can't tell by the name, they do a lot more than serve just coffee and muffins. Senior business correspondent Stephanie Rule has their story. Hey, Stephanie.
Hey, guys. I just want to say we have all gotten to tell a lot of really special stories. This is my all-time favorite. You know, I spend a lot of time down on the Jersey Shore. I cover small businesses. This story, this business blew my mind and it touched my heart. Watch this.
How you doing? Good, how are you? Good.
Zachary Applegate is 28 years old, and since he started working at Compassion Cafe, he's had many roles.
My job was today, I was like cleaning table.
He's also been a greeter at the front door and recently in charge of the cash register. But Zach knows his responsibilities go even further.
What's your favorite part about this job?
I always like to make everybody happy when they come in.
Compassion Cafe is a pop-up coffee shop on the Jersey Shore that gives adults with disabilities the chance to work and earn a paycheck. As customers pick up coffee, muffins, and bagels, they also get a taste of kindness.
Thank you. You're welcome. Compassion Cafe, where did this come from?
So it's kind of just been a heart project, a love project.
Erin Sharkey opened the cafe with her Aunt Sue in May. During the pandemic, the two spoke about doing something for the community, specifically the many Americans with disabilities that have few job options. With Erin's training in behavioral therapy and Sue's experience as a teacher, they wanted to be able to give some the opportunity.
What can I do for you? I feel like this was the perfect time to give families and these kids hope and something to do and something with meaning and also to make money. Like, who doesn't want to make money?
Grace Ridenhoff is one of those people.
I'm so happy that they hired me here, and I like it here. It's fun.
This summer, she's one of 50 employees ranging in age from 17 to 42 working at the nonprofit cafe. They can work up to 8 hours a week and earn the minimum wage in New Jersey, $12 an hour, like 17-year-old Robin Close.
You're getting a paycheck. What are you doing with that money?
I'm going to save it for my first concert.
What concert do you want to go to?
I want to go to a Sam Smith concert.
The pop-up is also drawing in visitors like Sarah Regimenti, who drove an hour and a half with her family to check out the cafe.
When you walked in, what'd you think?
I was blown away by how much that everybody was doing. They're learning all these life skills that they're going to need, people skills, money skills.
She hopes that one day her 13-year-old daughter could work at a place like it.
We don't know, what her future holds, and she needs opportunities like this to learn skills to give back to the community.
It's something employers can learn from as well.
You have employees that can't move quickly.
Yeah.
But they can move with heart, with the best of intentions. Is that a lesson for all of us?
Yeah. Like, that's their way of showing, like, hey, with a little grace and a little patience, you can get really good coffee and incredible service.
But coffee and muffins aren't enough to keep the cafe running, so it relies on donations from the community and space from a local ice cream shop and a nearby church.
Business-wise, our model doesn't make sense, right? Because today we have 21 kids working throughout the 4 hours. But our model isn't really to benefit profit-wise. It's to provide meaningful and paid employment to everybody who steps through our door and says that they're interested.
For Erin, though, it's more than a paycheck. The cafe is a stepping stone, giving these teens and adults practical skills for other jobs and showing the world what they can do.
It reaches so many more than just the employees because it gives family hope where I don't think they had hope previously.
Jessica Long is a 23-time medal-winning swimmer, and her story is one that began nearly 3 decades ago in an orphanage in Siberia. It's told in the new inspiring book. It's called Pure Grit, Stories of Remarkable People Living with Physical Disability. I had the chance to speak with Jessica from her training facility in Colorado, along with her mom, Beth, whose unwavering support has given Jessica the seeds of success. Take a look.
I don't have legs. I'll never have legs. But I also decided from a very early age that I was not going to let this life that I was given go to waste.
For 5-time Paralympic swimmer Jessica Long, physical disability is a motivating factor.
I really like to win, and I really like to be competitive. And I think for me, though, being the swimmer on the team without her legs, I had to work extra hard, right? I had to always show up and give 110%, because if I didn't, I wouldn't make it through these practices.
Jessica's love for swimming began when she was just a little girl. Unable to walk without prosthetics, the pool brought Jessica something solid ground could not.
For me, the water has always been a place of freedom, safety, but also feeling really strong and capable, even though I am missing my legs.
I want to hear about the first time, Jessica, you swam and what it felt like. Take us back to that day.
The first time I really remember was joining a swim team when I was 10 years old. I think that for me was really the moment I just fell in love with this idea of becoming a swimmer. And I showed up to the pool and I just jumped in, and I just instantly loved it.
The opportunity to thrive is not lost on Jessica. A native of Siberia, Jessica was born with fibular hemimelia, a condition where most of the bones in her feet were missing. Fearful she couldn't properly care for her newborn's needs, Jessica's birth mom placed her for adoption. Meanwhile, 5,000 miles away in Baltimore, Maryland, Beth and Stephen Long were looking to adopt.
Beth, tell me about that day that you got the call.
We had seen a picture of Jessica ahead of time, so when they called, we just knew she was the one for us. Like, it didn't matter what the disability was. I mean, we just knew she was meant for us.
Earlier this year, their story was told in a Toyota ad, viewed by nearly 100 million people.
We've found a baby girl for your adoption, but there's some things you need to know.
I was watching the Super Bowl and your commercial, and I was like bawling, crying, holding my baby in my arms. Like, this is beautiful. What was it like to see that come to life?
It was just a very special moment, especially for Jessica. Like, it was such a culmination of so many things that she had done and all of her successes, like on this one commercial.
Jessica, what was it like for you?
Oh gosh, I always get really emotional when I talk about it. So here, and my eyes are already watering. I would say it was incredibly healing, but also at the same time, it was so nerve-wracking, right? I've lived my life. I know the pain, the sacrifices, the surgeries, all of the moments that people don't get to see, right? People see the success and they see the medals and they see the awards, but that really captured just kind of the whole thing. But adoption still, like, it was hard. You know, there were moments where there were no answers, right, as to why was I given up, and was it my legs? And it was just hard to comprehend. And they picked actors who looked like my parents back then, and I just tried to put myself in that position, like that spot, right, like how they got the phone call. Because growing up, my whole life I thought of, oh, I was given up for adoption. But seeing that excitement on my parents' face, like, we get her, we get this little baby from Siberia. So when I smile and I push off, that was all very real.
Also very real, the renewed confidence participating in the Paralympic Games has brought to Jessica.
I remember just thinking I was the only person on the entire world that was missing 2 legs. So when I got involved in the Paralympics, it was the first time I started wearing shorts. It was the first time I started just embracing this body that I was given.
These days, 17 years after Jessica's Paralympic debut, she's inspiring other young athletes around the world, also living with physical disability.
I really hope to encourage the next generation, and I'm really excited for the Paralympic movement and what's to come.
And while Jessica may be on the world stage, earning the highest Paralympic achievement, she never loses sight of where she came from.
When it gets tough, because there's going to be tough moments in Tokyo, right? I just keep going back to that little Russian girl who never gave up. And I think that's what's going to get me through.
We're shedding tears during that. What was the most breathtaking part about Jessica Long?
Oh, everything, and about her mom too. She just said that she knew that she was her baby. You know, she knew she was going to have all these surgeries, but it would be difficult. But when she got the call, she said that that's her baby.
And to have Jessica imagine what it was like when her mother got that phone call.
Yes, and to see it.
And to see it, just to witness that.
As she said, that commercial was actually really healing.
I can.
Anyway, we love her.
That was good. Hope you stick around for another big morning tomorrow on Today, because the amazing Cynthia Erivo is going to be here and treat us to some of her new music.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day, everybody.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.